Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We are actually live now, and I'd like to welcome you all again to the second annual Dr. Roodal Moonilal Inter-Secondary School Debate. It has been a really great day so far. We've had 4 preliminary debates, some of the best debaters, best young minds. Today we acknowledge the students, the teachers, the staff, the parents, and all the supporters of the students of the San Fernando Central Secondary School, the Debe Secondary School, Presentation College Chaguanas, Shiva Boys Hindu College, Barakpur West Secondary School, Naparima College, Marabala South Secondary, and La Romaine High School. 1 year ago, the Member of Parliament for Oropouche East, this was his idea, a brainchild, to ensure that young people could have a voice in society, that young people could be groomed to be young leaders and really make a difference in our country. So today I ask you to congratulate and thank Dr. Roodal Moonilal for this initiative. This evening I would like you to also acknowledge we have a very, very experienced and dynamic panel of judges. We have with us Dr. Mukesh Basdeo, one of the best lecturers at the University of the West Indies. Please acknowledge Dr. Basdeo. We have with us Miss Daystar Swift, a national athlete, a patriot, and a former sporting superstar. We have Mr. Satya Simangal, a well-known name in the local education fraternity, in local banking fraternity. We have Mr. Anthony Ramjit. We have Ms. Zabida Hossein Abid. We are joined also by the parliamentary colleagues of Dr. Roodal Moonilal. We have with us the young, dynamic Saddam Hussein Member of Parliament for Baratara San Juan. We have also the Member of Parliament for Kuva North, MP Ravi Ratiram, the Shadow Minister of Agriculture. We have with us another national sporting hero, Senator David Naked. Also joining us this evening are some key people within the Parliament, in the Member of Parliament for Princess Tong, MP Barry Padarat. And so we also have with us Principal Raymond Suraj Bali, who is one of the best principals in our country. So we congratulate Mr. Suraj Bali for the work he continues to do at the Macaulay Government Primary School. Brothers and sisters, you have waited for this moment. You have had a lot of debate and so on. But today, I want to introduce a man who, from a young age, has really made a difference in our country. A man from a young age who has dedicated his life to serving his country. He was the first chairman of the UNC Youth Arm. But he didn't stop at the UNC Youth Arm. He continued to pursue his studies. And while pursuing his studies, he used those studies to better his community, and now he's bettering his country. He was a national scholar and a national debater. And that made him a government senator in 2001. From a government senator, his performance as a government senator in 2001, he became a minister in the Ministry of Labor and Industrial Relations in 2001, one of the youngest ever ministers. After that, his performance as a cabinet minister, he became a member of parliament for Oropouche in 2002. Then he won the 2002, 2007, 2010, 2015, and 2020 elections as a member of parliament for Oropouche East. He is the deputy political leader of the United National Congress. He is a former leader of government business. He's a former minister of housing, a former chief whip. And today I can confirm, like many of you, he's the best debater in the region. Let us welcome Dr. Roodal Moonilal, your member of parliament.
Thank you very much to the best chairman in the region. Good afternoon all. Permit me to take a few minutes to acknowledge in this very special audience our esteemed panel of judges for this important event. Nicholas read out the names and CVs and so on before, so I won't do that again. But I want to thank all members of the panel for giving their time, taking time away from their busy schedule and so on to be here. If I sound a bit nervous, it's because I've been listening to the debaters earlier. And I think I might suffer in comparison. And then the judges will not be very kind to me. So I was really bowled over earlier in the day when I heard several of the speakers, their level of confidence, wit, content, and so on. So I'm extremely happy and proud to be associated with this project. In our audience, we have several parliamentary colleagues. I just wanted again to recognize Attorney at Law, Member of Parliament for Barataria Sama, Mr. Saddam Hussein, is here. And would you believe, earlier in the day, a young man came to speak here. He was a debater. And I closed my eyes, and I don't know if it's because I was sitting next to Saddam Hussein for 4 years, but he actually sounded like Saddam Hussein. So I think we have another lawyer in the making. And to let you know, several debaters at secondary school and so on, for one reason or another, and there are reasons, eventually gravitate towards law. So there's something you need to look around you today on the stage. And who knows, just as you came up today, one debating group against another, one day that could be in the Supreme Court. You could be in the courthouse, and you will see someone opposite you, and you remember them from the inter-school secondary debating competition. So it is this privilege that we all have to share in this wonderful experience with you. In fact, MP Barry Padarat, who is here now, the Member of Parliament for Princestown, who is also a formidable debater in the Parliament, is a former national debating champion of Trinidad and Tobago, 2001. 2001. So let's give him a round of applause as a debating champion. Why did we do this? I just wanted to state briefly that I am not here, of course, as part of your debating team, so I will not make any pronouncement about the education sector and so on. But to say that we felt that the time was ripe, given all the crises we have in education and challenges facing our young people, to reinvigorate, to re-energize the arts, which include debating, which include drama as well, public speaking, artistic displays. It is very important, we believe, that our young people, our youth, in the school system in particular, are exposed to this art of debating, of communicating. Hundreds of years ago, when this form of art evolved, it was from the English literature and the traditions in Europe and so on that gave rise to the public orator, that you will have somebody who go by the town square and announce on behalf of the king and them boys. Announce, the public orator. But in civilization, you will also find this type of speaker rooted in ancient cultures of Asia, Africa, the Latin South American area, where persons develop speaking to village, to crowds, to families, communicating. And we felt that our young folks needed to develop these talents, because whether you like it or not, your world is a world of communicating. Your workplace, your home. And secondly, we would like to build confidence, self-esteem. And debating allows you to build self-esteem, to build confidence, to feel reassured in yourself. And that helps you not only with the talk, winning a debate, but with your life. Is a life skill to have confidence in yourself. So if one day you face hardship, you face sadness, you face, some family trouble or community, workplace struggle, you are confident, you have self-esteem, you feel good about yourself, and debating does that. It helps the young people, and this is why we invested in this annual competition, to assist our young folks. And I was telling a few of my parliamentary colleagues earlier that in this national community, many of the professionals, whether they be judges, they be lawyers, doctors, engineers, accountants, pilot, whatever they are, you can look at them in society and look at their root, and you will realize that when they were in secondary school like you, and I believe his presentation, San Fernando is here. When they were in secondary school, they were also formidable debaters. I don't want to name all the debaters who are around these days in national life, but many were rooted in the secondary school debating mill, as we say. So I congratulate all of you. I ask you to use this opportunity to build your confidence, to build your own personal strength of speaking, of convincing, of articulation, and the sky is the limit. You can aim high, you can achieve, we're achievers, so you can achieve anything you put your mind to. You can achieve it. We have on the panel of judges as well, very distinguished people, all educators, lecturers. I always have to, anytime I see Senator Naked, I always have to remind him that I am his fan. He's a former national football captain of Trinidad and Tobago. The midfield general, I remember him. Today he's just a political general. He was elevated. So, so you have to aspire. You must also have mentors. You must have role models. It is also very important. It's a society where we have a lot of models, but we may not have a lot of role models. And it's also important in this process today that you identify with persons who have been there, who have succeeded, who you can emulate. It's very important for you. I will leave you with a couple little jokes. When I was very young and I finished my first degree, it so happened, I don't know how it happened, but I would hang out, as we say, lime, with 3 or 4 younger people, young men, but not my age, a little older. But they were all doctors, medical doctors. And one day I was with them hanging out, and I looked at the 3 of them, and the 3 are very prominent doctors today, so I won't call anybody name. And we were joking, and I said, wait now, if you could be a doctor, you could be a doctor too. But we were joking. And then when the time came and I got an opportunity, I said, I'm the only person in this line here who is not a doctor. So then I became Dr. Roodal Moonilal. But it was the company I keep. It was who were around me. They were all graduates from Europe and medical college and schools and things. And I also aim to do PhD, to do postgraduate work, because that was the company I was in. And I thank them. I thank all my teachers. I had a great opportunity. I went to my past school that is participating here. I don't want to name that past school for fear of, being accused of signaling anything to any group of people. But I was so heartened to go back and to see, my own past school and to speak of the experience there and so on that helped me and enriched my life and led me to public service. So with those few words, I don't want to take too much time. I know it is a signal moment now. I hope I'm not paying the person who is doing that, right? Anyway, I think that's a bell to signal the beginning of a great process now and a great debate. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you all very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Dr. Roodal Moonilal, Member of Parliament for Urupuchi East. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached a very critical time where we announce the finalists of the 2nd annual Dr. Roodal Moonilal Inter-Secondary School Debate. Today, on behalf of the judges, they've asked me to inform you that everyone here today that participated was a winner because of the bravery, the brilliance, and the courage of every single school and student. The judges had a very hard task, given the brilliance on display this evening, or this morning as a matter of fact. However, only 2 teams could go through. Therefore, the first team into the finals of the debate competition today is one Presentation College, San Fernando. And joining them is Barrackpore West Secondary School. I would now ask that the team leads from each of those teams, from Presentation College as well as Barrackpore West Secondary School, join Shameen and Dr. Moonilal Doc, if we could indulge you so that they can choose to see if they will be on the affirmative or on the opposing side. All all right, so Barrackpore West versus Presentation College San Fernando. You have 10 minutes to prepare, and in 10 minutes' time, we'll begin the final round. And the motion for this debate this evening is, whereas school violence may be seen as a reflection of societal ills, and whereas schools are the immediate environment of incidents of school violence, the question is whether the government should be more directly responsible and involved in dealing with the current violence in schools. So we give both teams 10 minutes before we start the debate. Ladies and gentlemen, we are asking that the schools who may not, who are not in the finals, that you still stay with us for the debate, because at the end of the final debate, there will be the presentation of certificates and other awards, and we ask you to stay with us, please, for the end of today's program. Thank you. All right. Could we have the teams from the Barrackpore West Secondary School and Presentation College joining us on the stage, please? It's Pers, right? Pers and Barrackpore West, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin the finals of the second annual Dr. Roodal Moonilal Inter-Secondary School Debate Competition. The motion up for debate this evening is, whereas school violence may be seen as a reflection of societal ills, and whereas schools are the immediate environment of incidents of school violence, the question is whether the government should be directly responsible and involved in dealing with the current violence in schools. This evening we have Presentation College supporting this motion as they are in the affirmative, and we have Barrackpore West Secondary School opposing this motion. As we begin this evening's proceedings, let me just go through the rules. Each team will field 3 speakers. The affirmative team's speaker will speak first for 6 minutes, stating your team's arguments in support of the motion. The opposing team, likewise, will speak for 6 minutes after, giving their arguments against the motion. The affirmative team will supply the second speaker, rebutting for a period of 5 minutes, and then the opposing team will provide their speaker, again rebutting for a period of 5 minutes. After 4 speakers have spoken, 2 on each side, we'll have a 5-minute recess for you all to regroup and to summarize your arguments. When we restart, the opposing team will provide their final speaker to speak for a period of 3 minutes, summarizing their final arguments, but not introducing any new information. After that, the team in the affirmative will provide their last speaker saying why they support this motion for a period of 3 minutes, but not adding any new information. Again, as told you earlier, let me describe the point system to you. 25 points will be awarded for content and argumentation, which is the strength of arguments and relevance to the topic, your depth of research and the evidence provided, your logical structure and coherence of points. 20 points will be awarded for persuasiveness, which is your ability to convince the judges and the audience, your ability to use emotional appeal where needed, and most importantly, the impact of the speaker's message. 20 points will be awarded for rebuttal and counter arguments, which is the ability to effectively refute the opposing team's arguments, the ability to anticipate any counterpoints, and importantly, address the key issues raised by the opposition. 15 points will be awarded for organization and clarity, which is a clear presentation of ideas, a logical flow of structure, and most importantly, staying relevant and staying on topic. 10 points will be awarded for team collaboration, which is the coordination and consistency between team members. Finally, 10 points will be awarded for correct grammatical structures and vocabulary. Now, I ask anyone with a cell phone to please hand over the cell phone to your team members. Any cell phones on stage? Press. All right. If somebody from Barrackpore West could just come for a cell phone. Again, importantly, please stay on topic. If you do not stay on topic and you are not relevant, you can be disqualified by the judges. Secondly, do not use any offensive language against any of your opposition members. And importantly, listen for the bell. When the bell rings, as the bell rang for Dr. Moonilal, you cease, stop, and allow the other speaker. So Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to begin the debate? Presentation, are you ready? Barrackpore West, are you ready? Again, I'll read the motion. Whereas school violence may be seen as a reflection of societal ills, and whereas schools are the immediate environment of incidents of school violence, the question is whether the government should be more directly responsible and involved in dealing with current violence in schools. I now invite Presentation College to supply their first speaker to say why they support this evening's motion for a period of 6 minutes.
Good morning, esteemed judges, my worthy opponents, and of course you, the Honorable House. This morning, I, Christopher C. Barron, am the first speaker, followed by Jesus, the second speaker, and Nishad, the third speaker, all supporting the proposition, which states, whereas school violence may be seen as a reflection of societal ills, and whereas schools are the immediate environment of incidents of school violence, the question is whether the government should be more directly responsible and involved in dealing with current violence in schools. Now, if we really examine this motion before we get into this debate, we realize that the government is not actually involved in the school violence. Therefore, if the government was involved, maybe we wouldn't be having such violence in the schools. News articles, 2024, root out school violence, incident at Superior West. Number 2, schoolboy Jaden Lalchan suicide death reaches budget debate in 2024. Student killed in schoolyard altercation at Mucurapo West, 2022. Deadly school violence sparks safety reforms, 2023. And those are just a few. The list goes on. This is to show you how serious this matter actually is. Imagine you as a parent sending your child to school, or even you as a student, you're trying to advance and improve your life to get a better education, but no. You're risking your life every day and you could possibly die at any second, at any moment in time. You have no idea what's gonna happen. So let's actually define what is violence. Violence, stated by the Oxford Dictionary, states that the intentional use of physical force or power, threatened or actual, against another person that either results in or has a high likelihood of resulting in injury, death, or psychological harm. The key takeaway from this is violence can be both physical and psychological, as clearly stated within these sources here. Root out school violence, incident Superior West, a student was stabbed, that's physical, and we also have the psychological effects with a schoolboy, Jaden Lalchan's suicide. He was bullied to the point that he committed suicide, a psychological reference. Now, when we really examine these points, I would like to firstly note that the intervention in school violence is essential to uphold children's rights to a safe education, as protected by Trinidad and Tobago's ratification of the UN Convention on the Rights of a Child. Now, what exactly is a right? It's a law. Who made the law? Not the teachers in school. It's the government. Therefore, the government should be responsible for ensuring that children are safe in school, as they clearly state in their law. This is also backed up in 2023. Dr. Gatsby Dolly affirms every child deserves a safe learning environment. With the lack of comprehensive policies, this commitment remains unfulfilled. Now, why does it remain unfulfilled? Because the government isn't involved. If the government was involved, we probably wouldn't be having this debate right now. And this also backs up what the motion clearly states. It states that whereas schools are the immediate environment of incidents, the immediate environment, this is where students meet on a daily basis. Schools are an essential space of socialization, and thus the government involvement, that this foundation is solid. In 2018, TUTA implemented workshops to harbor the weaknesses, but the funding were limited. Why were the funding limited? Because the government has other things to do. Yes, that's true. But speaking apart from government schools, we also have private schools. If we have parents that can help fund this, we can help ensure children's safety, because it's not just children's safety, it's teacher safety, it's also parent safety. If you're dropping your child up to school, you are also at risk of dying at any point in time. An additional point is, according to Tutor, reported in 2022, several students were found with knives and other weapons in schools. Dr. Gatsby Dolly emphasized the need for tighter security, including implementation, trained security personnel, and introducing more attention to these matters. Now, one could argue that if we have a lot higher security, then wouldn't that cause the students to feel more intimidated? But what is better, knowing that you have personnel that are there to protect you, or knowing that you're going to a school and you could die any second now and you don't have any protection at all? So, to summarize all the points stated here today, violence is something to be taken very seriously. And clearly the opposition states that we don't need government involvement, but the government isn't involved. So how come we have so much crimes and violence in schools today? If the government was involved, we probably wouldn't be having this debate, as I stated before. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Your presentation gives the argument. Now it's time for Barrackpore West Secondary School to tell us why they disagree with this evening's motion or they are in opposition. So let us welcome Barrackpore's first speaker for a period of 6 minutes.
Judges, do you know what my colleague just sang? These are the words that influence the society, furthermore influences school violence. Therefore, Barrackpore West Secondary School strongly opposes this motion. Whereas school violence may be seen as a reflection of societal ills, whereas schools are the immediate environment of incidents of school violence, the question is whether the government should be more directly responsible and involved in dealing with current violence in schools. Presentation College, let me ask you a question. How much do you expect the government to do? How much? The government cannot protect every student from societal ills. Children are born into a society where they are naturally influenced. Some children are born with good morals but are eventually exposed to influences. And lastly, parents need to take a responsibility because it's their child they are sending out. According to a very reliable source, Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, I quote, PM urges parents to help curb violence by Gail Alexander. On March the 10th of 2023, Dr. Nayan Gatspadoli had pointed to a survey in the People's National Movement public meeting in Barataria, done in showing that the number of schools which students have been suspended are 47 schools, and 142 students were suspended in one term, term 3 alone, in April 2022. One term. I repeat, one term. Immediately, you started, judges, let me ask you a question. Who is to blame when a child misbehaves or commits an offense? Exactly. Immediately, you start thinking parents. Parents have the fundamental responsibility. And when you see a child behave in a particular way, the question must be asked. Where is the parents? There are too many parents in this country who aren't paying enough attention to their children sufficiently, leaving them up to the teachers to work miracles, leaving them to the government and police. What can you expect the police to do? They could only act after a crime is committed. Just recently, there was a case of bullying between two female students in a Cedar Secondary School that escalated between the mothers of the children outside the school on the 20th of October. If the mothers of these children are displaying violence in front of their own child, won't the child automatically inhabit the same behavior? We can see this on an everyday basis. Children who vapes, misbehaves, and use inappropriate language tend to come from a home with similar background. It is not the government but the parents that make a child the way a child is. You cannot expect the government to come to your house and parent your child, can you? Now, you may be asking yourself, what if parents do raise a child with good values but are influenced by others? Again, the government cannot wrap a child in bubble wrap. When children are at school, there are many influences like friends, media, and music that may cause a child or children to become violent. There was a cell phone policy implemented that stated all cell phones must be switched on, switch off upon arrival in a school compound. However, I am sure children turn on that phone and take videos and upload it to TikTok, Instagram, Threads, these new medias. This will cause cyberbullying and bullying. The societal ills like music is a heavy influence on the mindset of the youth. Song artists uses guns, violence, murder, alcohol, and drugs, etc. as part of their lyrics. I can make that list longer, you know. You just have to listen to the song. Children choose to listen, and this influences them. The government cannot remove this from society, but it is the individual mindset. The government cannot change a person, but the government did implement policies and programs to help motivate and influence individuals positively. My opponents may argue that the government is doing enough, but let me remind you about the Ministry of Education Cultural Transformation through Curriculum Enhancement Initiative. Cultural transformation through education is not an immediate process, but an achievable goal over 7 years. It requires the inculcation of positive VABs and adjustment of schools, curriculum, timetable, assessment, and students' experience to prioritize not only academic education, but moral, physical, and cultural and arts education, and the development of technical life and 21st century skills. Through education system, religious institutes instill values such as goodwill, honesty, respect, tolerance, integrity, and civic pride. The approved cultural transmission through education program 2023 to 2027 was shared with the public on the Ministry of Education website. I thank you.
Thank you very much. So again, the question this evening, the question being debated, should the government be more directly responsible and involved in dealing with current violence in schools? Presentation College have said to us, yes, they agree with it. Barrackpore West Secondary School have just told us, no, they do not agree with that. Now we'll have Presentation College's second speaker to rebut what they have said for a period of 5 minutes.
Good day, judges, my honorable opponents, and my teammates. First, I would like to appreciate the singing done before. I was unaware this was a talent show, but thank you very much. Now, I would first like to refer to something my opening speaker said. He referred to socialization. Socialization is the process of passing on the norms and values of a society onto the next generation. Traditionally, the primary form of socialization was through the family structure, which my opponents did state. However, due to industrialization, and now we have both parents working and the rise of single-parent matrifocal households, we see that education has become the primary source of socialization. Many students are learning their norms and values from their peers and their teachers. And these peers and teachers, in many of the cases and incidents of school violence, occur in government schools. These government schools are directly attached to the government of our country, so they should hold a moral and legal obligation to uphold a safe environment for a conducive learning environment. The duty of care is something that teachers in these government institutions have a right to uphold. And the duty of care should not end at the teachers. It should extend to the government. The motion today is whether the government should be more directly responsible and involved with dealing with current violence in schools. To say that the government should not have any involvement with this is grossly wrong. The government has an obligation to provide an institution where there is supervision, carefulness, and liability of the students. The students need to be safe. In these areas where we have school violence, we see it happening in areas of low socio-economic standing. The government has already failed the adults of these areas. We cannot allow them to fail the students of these areas too. The future of our country depends on them being able to learn in a safe and conducive environment for learning. Social institutions such as the family, religion, and education are what carry on our culture. Today, the culture is being morphed and changed into something of violence, of drugs, as guns, ammunition, all these things. The government has an obligation to make sure that these are not the norms and values passed on to our children. That is why we have initiatives such as the Panyard initiative proposed by our president to try and get these at-risk students off the streets. In addition to this, I think we should implement outreach programs, workshops for the teachers, and increase in the guidance counselors available in these schools. For me, Presentation College San Fernando, our guidance counselor is not available in these schools every day. If something was to go wrong on a day that the guidance counselor isn't there, that could only lead to bad things happening. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, as we continue in the second annual Dr. Roodal Moonilal's Inter-Secondary School Debate Competition, Presentation College continues and maintains that there needs to be government intervention to fight school violence, while Barrackpore West Secondary is opposed to that. And that is why we'll invite Barrackpore West Secondary to provide their second speaker to tell us why they are not supporting this motion this evening for a period of 5 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us give our worthy opponent for that illustrious performance after a whole bunch of nothing. Let me start. Mache Emmanuel, aka Pumpy Boss, part of the 7 gang, was shot recently in St. Martin. Kashif Alexander Sankar, Cayman 6, part of the 6 gang, was a victim of an attempted murder, but unfortunately, an innocent bystander got shot and died, both of whom are youths of our great nation. Presentation, did you know this before coming here today? I think not. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you here today to argue against the motion that the government should take direct responsibility for addressing school violence in Trinidad and Tobago. While this is indeed a critical issue, placing the primary responsibility on the government overburdens them and the country resources on a complex burden and ignores the vital roles of families, communities, and schools. Firstly, it is essential to recognize that families and communities are primary influences in a child's life. According to a study by the Ministry of Education, approximately 45% of students reported experiencing violence at home, which is a significant precursor to violent behavior in schools. When children grow up in an environment where violence is normalized, they're more likely become like behavior in school. A survey conducted by the Caribbean Community CARICOM indicated that over 60% of youths in Trinidad and Tobago believe that family issues contribute to violence in schools. Thus, it is crucial to empower families with resources and education about conflict resolution and emotional support, rather than relying solely on the government intervention. Secondly, schools themselves must take the responsibility for creating safe environments. You hear that presentation, the school itself. Teachers and school administrations understand their students best, but according to the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, about 70% of teachers reported feeling unprepared to handle incident resources to address specific issues than rather a broad government mandate. A 2020 study by the University of the West Indies found that schools with stronger leadership and community involvement saw a 30% decrease in incidents of violence. This indicates that local solutions led by educators can be highly effective, showcasing that the need for schools to be empowered to act rather than directly involving government policies. The murder rate in Trinidad and Tobago was approximately 29.8 per 1,000 people, with youth involvement in crime rising. The focus on policy and legislation has often overshadowed preventative measures that communities could implement independently. Our very own Mr. Saddam Hussein, who is the shadow for Attorney General, we hope you fix this problem. The National Crime Prevention Policy, while well-intended, has been criticized for its lack of effectiveness measures targeted at schools. Research indicates that less than 10% of government resources are allocated to youth programs aimed at violence prevention, suggesting a disconnect between funding and the pressing needs of schools. You all remember how people quick to pull out cutlass when an argument happened? I am not sure if the proposition knows this, but I'm sure the rest of you know that. Additionally, addressing school violence requires localized solutions tailored to specific community needs. The 2019 Youth and Crime Violence Prevention Survey revealed that over 50% of respondents felt that local organizations could effectively tackle issues of violence more than the government programs. These local initiatives are more culturally relevant and can address the unique challenges faced in different neighborhoods. Programs like community parenting, initiated by non-government organizations, have shown success in reducing violence. You hear that presentation? How many of you all know about Daru? You remember when you were small and your mother and father gave you a little bit for the worms? Remember when two young ladies brought ecstasy into the school? Or even when these students bring in Minute Maid with alcohol? How is that the government to be blamed for that? Ladies and gentlemen, the government can only do so much. They need to be met halfway by other stakeholders. Let us work together to create a nurturing environment where families, schools, and communities unite to tackle violence collaboratively. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the halfway mark of the Dr. Roodal Moonilal Secondary School debate competition. 4 speakers have spoken. 2 from Presentation College saying that they support government intervention in the fight against school violence, while 2 speakers from Barrackpore West say they do not support that. And that is why the final conclusion is yet to be determined. We do not know who is leading or not, and that's why we have to take a break. We'll be taking a 5-minute recess where both teams will regroup and prepare their final arguments. And as I told you before, when we restart, the opposing team will be providing their final speaker with their conclusion and their summary arguments, and you cannot introduce any new information into the debate, and it's for a period of 3 minutes. And then we'll conclude with Presentation College giving why they support today's motion for a period of 3 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, starting now, we take a recess for 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It might not be the finals of the IPL or the Champions League, but trust me, the pace and pressure is on here at the Dr. Roodal Moonilal second annual inter-secondary school debate competition. Presentation College are trying to convince our judges that there should be government intervention in dealing with school violence, while Barrackpore West Secondary School are also trying to tell our judges, no, there should be no government intervention. And that is why we asked Barrackpore Secondary School to present their third and final speaker this evening, to present for a period of 3 minutes their closing arguments without introducing any new information into this debate. Let's welcome the third and final speaker from Barrackpore West Secondary.
Presentation College said that they didn't know this was a talent show. It is not. But if it was, you all would be comedians. And let me remind you, debating is a talent. While school violence in Trinidad and Tobago may indeed be part of a larger problem in society, positive values instilled in students is largely the domain of parents, not the government. Though the government can implement policies and programs such as the cultural transformation through education, it can never protect the student from the realities of life. Music influence, social factors, social media influence, and peer pressure. Just to name a few. Ultimately, parents guide the behavior of their children, and the government's role is mainly to provide support given to schools, enforce policies, and cannot dictate the values of each child. The main burden of addressing school violence in Trinidad is not and should not be a government matter, because such an approach simplifies the complexity of the issue. The family, schools, and the community are vital in molding the behavior, values, and social skills of students. In the context of family, the nature versus nurture explores how much of a child's personality, abilities, and behaviors come from genetics versus family environment. Families can provide value orientation and a foundation, while schools are able to establish safe environments by developing respectful cultures and appropriate discipline policies. Great reliance on government intervention policies may impede local solutions, which are often far more effective in meeting particular needs and cultural sensitivities. Ultimately, collaborative efforts among the family, schools, and community with government support offer the most viable long-term strategy in reducing school violence. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the question this evening here for the past 40 minutes has been, should there be more government intervention in dealing with school violence? This evening, so far, 3 speakers from Barrackpore West have sought to convince our judges, no, government should not intervene. 2 speakers so far from Presentation College have told you, yes, there needs to be government intervention. So to wrap up their argument on why there must be more government intervention to deal with school violence, let us welcome the third and final speaker from Presentation College to present their closing arguments for a period of 3 minutes without introducing any new information in this debate.
Good day, esteemed judges, fellow students, teachers alike. Now, I didn't know the proposition could beat tables like Wayne Zoo. I was under the impression that this is a professional debate. Now, realize that they lacked information and content also. Just because you can shout does not mean necessarily your point is valid. So I'll lower my tone for you all, because I actually care. I'm sure that your ears hurt from listening to all the opponents shout and scream about nothing. So, to define my first speaker's point, what violence is: the intentional use of physical force or power, threatened or acted against another person that either results in or has a high likelihood of resulting in an injury, death, or psychological harm. For my other definition, repeating my second speaker's point. Socialization is the process of passing the norms and values of a society from our generation onto the other generation. So, the government is not involved in school violence. There are too many incidences of violence and death occurring in school settings, as school is an unpredictable place. Anything can happen. Children have a right to safe education. Every child deserves a safe environment to learn. This is the premise of our debate, backed up with the ratification of the UN. Is the government supposed to ban music? Vaping and smoking also have nothing to do with violence in schools. Not every person who partakes in these things are automatically labeled violent people. To back up my second speaker's point also, education is now the new primary source of socialization. Children spend more time at school than at home. We need more workshops, teachers, and guidance counselors, as stated previously. And also, the opposition agrees with us in the fact that families also need to be empowered, but they can't be empowered by the government. They agreed with us also with the point that school is the place where the most socialization takes place. And yes, everybody is susceptible to peer pressure. So the government should not be responsible for safety in schools. Knives on students, guns, also contraband, have been... The government should be responsible. Sorry. Schools are dangerous. Everybody is at risk at any time. So, whereas school violence may be seen as a reflection of societal ills, and whereas schools are the immediate environment of incidents. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Presentation College. Thank you very much, Barakpur West Secondary School. Ladies and gentlemen, across the oceans, millions of people in the United States are making a very important decision on who their next president is. Right here in this hall, the 9 judges are making an even more important decision on who the winner of the Dr. Roodal Moonilal second annual secondary school debate competition will be. And that is why we ask you to bear with us. The judges will decide shortly, but we congratulate both teams this evening for a very fine display of debate, a very fine performance, and we congratulate all teams this evening. So give yourselves, give your students, your teachers a round of applause. So we ask the teams, both Presentation College and Barakpur West Secondary School, you can have your seats in the audience and the results will be released shortly. But at this point in time, today was a phenomenal event and it was due to the inspiration of Dr. Moonilal, but the assistance of many people. And this evening we would like to invite Ms. Usha Rampasad, Principal of the Debe Hindu School, as well as the Secretary of the Orpush East Constituency Executive, to give the vote of thanks this evening. So please welcome, with a round of applause, Ms. Usha Rampasad.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank none other than our Member of Parliament for Orpuch East, the Honorable Dr. Roodal Moonilal, a master debater himself, for his vision and guidance in providing the opportunity for this electrifying debate today. Let's give him a round of applause for that. And I have to mention the fantastic job that our moderator, Mr. Nicholas Morris, would have done in managing today's event. And I ask you to at least give each of these group of people a round of applause as I mention their hard work and effort today. Today's final judgment would also not be possible without the goodly judges here with us for the entire day. They would have given of their time, effort, and skill to be here. And I want to mention all of them by name and give them a round of applause as they are working tirelessly to give us the winners. None other than Ms. Daystar Swift, Come on, boys and girls. Senator David Naked, Mr. Satya Simangal, MP Saddam Hussein, Mr. Bida Hussein Abid, Mr. Anthony Ramjit, Dr. Mukesh Basdev, and of course we have Mr. Ravi Ratiram joining for this segment as well. Thank you so very much, judges. I know we're going to be very pleased with the outcome. I must also mention and give thanks to the Ministry of Education for granting permission for us to conduct this event here. And I must say a special thanks to all the schools, the principals, the teachers, the talented students of this debate today, the participating schools, San Fernando Central Secondary. A round of applause to you, Daybase Secondary, Shiva Boys College, Barkpore West Secondary, La Romaine Secondary, Presentation College, Naparima College, and Marabella South Secondary. Thank all of you, young students, for your fantastic oratory skills. You were very knowledgeable, inspiring, and convincing. You were very articulate in all your proposals. And indeed, I'm sure you are going to be the future leaders in society. Congratulations to all you youths again for coming forward and undertaking this. I know your parents and family would have also been very involved in preparing you to get here. You have indeed made your parents and community and school proud. Thank you so very much. A day like today, of course, we must also give thanks to our many sponsors who would have come together to make this possible. Of course, first on the list must be Dr. Roodal Moonilal himself. And of course, I'm going to name some of the others, to name a few. Mr. Ashmir Mohammed, Keith Mohammed Books and School Supplies Limited, Jawala Prasad Supermarket, Prasad's Home Improvement Store, Active General Traders Limited, Mr. Rahim Simangal, the Rupnarayan Family Medical Center, Jagasa Group of Companies, and Ravi Prasad Singh. We thank you all very much for your support, and we look forward to your continued support in our future debating competitions. This hall is pleasant environment. As we say, it's achievers, so we are achieving a lot in the same tone. We must thank the management and staff for providing this hall and making it available for this educational experience. We would like to also thank Mr. Sirju and his dedicated staff at the Oropuch East constituency, all of which you see stand, some of them assisting all day along here. Thank you all so very much. I know today's event would have been a culmination of all the hard work and effort that you would have put together. Mr. Sirju himself, is a veteran educator and politician and one. So let's give Mr. Sirju a round of applause for always being there. And within that team as well, we must also individually, and I must single-handedly identify Ms. Sherman Lewis, the personal assistant of Dr. Moonilal. She's modeling. I thought she was going to model in front of us today, but she has really worked hard. She has been the engine and driving force behind this whole activity coming together today. She has been working tirelessly with a lot of people to make sure that this is very successful. Thank you very much, Sherman, for your leading role in this. And last but not least, I must commend the Oropuch East constituency headed by none other than our chairman, Mr. Raymond Suraj Bali, and all the members of the executive for the continued support and assistance that we provide to Dr. Moonilal and to make sure that this event comes together. And as I said, we would have taken a little time to make sure we would have had the filling complete so that all of you would have been able to hear the appreciation before it comes to an end. So if I have left out anybody, we also have Kevin and his team here as well who would have been ensuring that we are live as well. And if there's anybody I left out, forgive me. Thanks once more for being here, for being part of today's, and I said this is like a celebration, for today's celebration. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of it, the wait while we are waiting, the cream of the crop, the icing on the cake for the students with the best oratory skills. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, those joining us online, those of you here, I know you all are eagerly awaiting the results, but it's been a very, very tough task given the performance this evening. So Dr. Basdeo and his team are calculating, tabulating, reviewing, consulting, and every possible thing to ensure these results are accurate because it's been a really good competition this evening. So we ask you to bear with us, give us 5 minutes and we'll be back with your results shortly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have had 5 hours of debate. We have had 8 teams, 32 members, a number of supporters, all here for the second annual Dr. Roodal Moonilal's Inter-Secondary School Debate Competition. And to bring you the final results, we'd like to welcome our head judge, the prolific lecturer, Dr. Mukesh Basdeo, to give you the panel of judges' results this evening.
Thank you, Nicholas. Just before I make the announcement, let me just thank the schools that are represented here. I must admit that the debate was of a high caliber, and it takes me back, if I just bring one of my experience, having spent 8 years in the parliament as a research assistant. I had the opportunity over the 8 years to listen to many of what you call the great debaters of, let's say, the post-2004 era. And there were significant members of parliament who made what we call landmark contributions in various pieces of legislation. And I can say that listening to the crop of students from these 8 schools, I think in the next 10 years, we may have good debaters, a continuation of the caliber of debate on the various pieces of legislation in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, if that is their career path. But it is very rewarding to me to be here this afternoon. When I was asked to be part of the team, I was extremely humbled to be here to actually listen to the students and their contribution on 2 important pieces of what we call contemporary issues affecting the education system in Trinidad and Tobago. So I must commend all the students for their hard work and for what they had put out in today's event. Now, with that in mind, the caliber of the debate is quite significant, and I can speak for my colleagues on the table that there were significant areas that really impressed us. The research that went into the topics, and especially, I'm speaking like an academic, when you use what we call specific examples, and you demonstrate that you have researched the topic and you can put forward what we call a credible argument or counter arguments. This is what was very impressive from the 8 schools and from the teams that were present here for today's event. With this in mind, I would like to announce from my team of judges that I'm going to announce what is referred to as the third runner-up, and then we'll get to the finals that we just heard a few minutes ago. The school that is the third runner-up for today's event is Naparima College, San Fernando. The school that was part of the final, and based on the results from my colleagues, the 8 members of the panel of judges, the school that is the runner-up is Presentation College, San Fernando. This will make Barpo West Secondary the champion for this year's Dr. Roodal Moonilal debating competition. Oh, again, well, for a second year running, the winner is Barpo West Secondary.
Thank you very much, Dr. Basdeo. Now we invite Mr. Raymond Surajbali, the principal of the Macaulay Government School and as well as the chairman of the Oropouche East Constituency Executive for the presentation of awards this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris. So you will have heard the results announced, ladies and gentlemen. We are now going to reward you with some awards. All right, so the third place, Naparima College. This prize is sponsored by Prasad's Home Improvement Store. And we have the managing director of Prasad Home Improvement. I'll ask him to come forward and he will assist us in the distribution of this prize. This prize entails $800, 200 per student in the form of a voucher, a trophy, and $2,000 in cash, sponsored by Prasad's Home Improvement. So can we have the team from the Naparima Boys College, Naparima College, to come forward? I think we could give them a round of applause as they make their way forward to receive their prizes. Everything, yeah, everything. This, right? This do? So it's much more than I would have announced. You see they have been awarded several prizes here. The third place winner. That's the standard we set at our Puchis, led by our Honorable MP, Dr. Roodal Moonilal. So they would have received vouchers, cash prizes, certificates, medals. And now we have our trophy to be presented by Mr. Prasad of Jwala Prasad Supermarket and the Prasad Home Improvement Center. Ladies and gentlemen, Naparima College, our third place winner. Thank you very much, Mr. Prasad. Thank you very much, our students from Naparima College. At this point in time, I'd like to invite the Honorable Mr. Barry Padarat, the Member of Parliament for Princestown, to assist us in the distribution of our second prize. This prize as well, ladies and gentlemen, is sponsored by Jwala Prasad Supermarket. It entails $3,200 in cash, $800 per student. Students, make sure everyone gets $800. Make sure the share is equal. A trophy, $1,200, $300 per student as well. All right, so at this point in time, we'd like to invite Presentation College to join us on stage. Let's give Presentation College a hand of applause. So we're going to start with the vouchers, the cash prize, and the certificates together. Sir? We have the medals that will be presented at this time. Now we have the trophy presented by Barry to the second place winner, Presentation College. Thank you very much, boys. Thank you very much, Barry, for assisting us. And as we move on to our first prize, I'd like to invite our Honorable MP, Dr. Roodal Moonilal, to join us on stage. And for the second year running, I would like to invite the Barakpur West Secondary Debating Team, if they can join us on stage, our first place winners. This prize is a total cost of $6,000, $4,000 a cash prize, $1,000 per student, a trophy, and $2,000, $500 per student in the form of a voucher. All right, so Mr. Ashmir Mohammed, one of our sponsors, together with Mr. Keith Mohammed Books and School Supplies, we thank these sponsors. So at this point in time, Dr. Moonilal will do the presentation to members of the Barakpur West debating team. So it's a number of prizes that are being presented to all students who will have participated this afternoon. We thank our sponsors who would have so generously provided these prizes, headed by our MP, Dr. Roodal Moonilal. And now we have the trophy that will be presented to our first place winners. I know these students will be so enthusiastic to take back this trophy to their school tomorrow. Well done. After, he said after. Right, and we do have certificates. Thank you very much, Dr. Moonilal. We do have certificates to present to the other teams that would have participated. We'll do so at the end. Our final presentations, ladies and gentlemen, we'll call on Ms. Das. What's her name? Mr. Ramona, if you can join us on stage. And we would, if it's one group of people who would have listened to everything that was said on this stage, would have been our judges. They would have sat through 5 hours and listened and tabulated and judged and so on. So we would like to show our appreciation to our judges on behalf of our Honorable MP. And we'll ask Mr. Astor to assist us. First of all, Dr. Mukesh Basdev. Please accept our token of appreciation for the services that you would have rendered this afternoon. We do appreciate it. Mr. Anthony Ramjet. Mr. Anthony Ramjet recently retired as School Supervisor 2 from the St. Patrick Education District. A very, very hard-working gentleman. And we hope to hear more of you in the future, Mr. Ramjet. Thank you very much for the services that you would have rendered to our Puchis this afternoon. Ms. Zabida Hussain Ahmed. Our good friend to our Puchis, MP for Sama Barataria, Mr. Saddam Hussein, Attorney at Law. Thank you very much, sir, for taking the time off. I know you would have lost a lot of legal fees by coming here this evening. I hope our Honorable MP will compensate you. A cash prize. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Satya Simangal. Mr. Simangal is the son of one of our good friends, or a good supporter of our Puchis, Attorney at Law, Mr. Ryan Simangal. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Senator David Naked. Thank you for taking time off as well, sir, from today's Tuesday, today's Senate. I don't want to say he would have left the Senate to be here, but thank you very much for lending support and gracing us with your presence and your expertise. Ms. Desta Swift, thank you very much, Miss, for being here, and please accept a token of appreciation. I always thought I was tall. Thank you very much. MP Ravi Ratiram, your token of appreciation. He left? He left? Sir, thank you very much for taking time off from your busy schedule as well, sir, and being with us here today. Do receive a token of appreciation. And today, guiding us through the proceedings, hold on, miss, the moderator who will have done an excellent job, I'm sure you would agree, Mr. Nicholas Morris, do us. Right, so we have some certificates. We just like the representative from the team to come forward. Shiva Boys College, Mr. Kurt Ramlal is here with us, sir. If you can just help us with the distribution of these certificates. Mr. Kurt Ramlal, great supporter of Rapuchis. Can we have a representative from Shiva Boys? collecting certificates on behalf of the team. Yeah, Alto won the guild. Who you have now? Santa Ana North Central. Thank you very much, Mr. Kurt. We'll invite Mr. Ryan Sibangal. And we call on a representative from San Fernando Central. And that's the school that our MP would have attended. Now we can reveal that. The results have been out, so we can reveal that now. The school that Dr. Moonilal would have attended. So we'll ask Mr. Rahim to distribute certificates. We'll ask a representative from Marabella South to come forward. I will ask Mr. Keith Mohammed from Mohammed Bookstore, who always so generously sponsors for these activities, to come forward and present certificates to Marabella North. Sorry, Marabella South. Is a way to see whether you are paying attention or not. You know, you say the wrong thing and you get the attention of the crowd, so you correct the crowd, you know the crowd is following. Thank you very much. We have another one of the officers from the Rapuchis, Mr. Ganesh Ramdin. Come forward, sir, and we'll ask the representative from Laramine Secondary if they can come and receive these certificates on behalf of the Honorable MP. So all schools would have received some reward for their efforts this afternoon. Debe Secondary, are you all still here? Debe Secondary? All right, so we'll pass on these certificates. So as we conclude this afternoon's proceeding, it has been a very productive day. We would have seen the emergence of a lot of young talent, a lot of young debaters. On behalf of Dr. Roodal Moonilal, the Member of Parliament for Rapuchis, we take this opportunity to once again thank all of you for spending this day with us, a truly productive one. God bless all of you. Safe journey as you return to your various homes, and we look forward to seeing you next year. The two teams that would have made it first and second place, if you could come forward. We like some pictures and so on with you, with and the judges as well, together with Dr. Moonilal. So those two teams, we have some photo sessions. Thank you all very much, ladies and gentlemen.